Namo Harikeshayopavitide Pushtanam Pataye Namaha. So again, the sage is picking up the same word Harikesha. So how to determine the meaning of the same word in different locations? So sometimes we get a clue by looking at the previous word. Sometimes we get a clue by looking at the next word. Sometimes we get a clue in the context. See, this is what we were talking about Linga Tatparya Nirnaya, how to give the meaning of a word, especially Vedic word. So here, if you see Harikeshaya Upavitine, what is the meaning of Upavitine? One who is wearing the sacred thread, the Yajnopavita. So why should we wear the Yajnopavita or the sacred thread? It is only because we resolve to do the Swadhyaya Pravachana. Otherwise we don't need the thread at all. When we undertake the duty of study and teaching, then one must have the sacred thread. So looking at Upavitine, how would we interpret the word Harikesha here? We interpret that as he is the Jnana Swarupa. So therefore in this particular mantra, we have to translate Harikeshaya as one whose Swarupa is knowledge. Then how do we parse the word Harikesha? That means it is always green. Hari means green. The tree is always green and he is Harikesha. That means he is youthful. So this is what we also see in the Dakshinamurti Stotra, where we say Chitram Vatataror Mule Vruddhashishya Gurur Yuva. Then we also see Maunavyakya Pragatita Parabrahma Tattvam Yuvanam. So the two words for those of you who are not familiar with Sanskrit is Chitram. Look at that scene. Look at this very surprising scene where Vruddha Shishyaha, all the students are old. Guruhu Yuva, the teacher is young. Now this also has to be further interpreted to say that Vruddhaha Shishyaha means it is not they are chronologically by age they are old. Those who are growing, Vruddhi means to grow. So all the people, all the students who are growing in their knowledge are all Vruddhas only. And then Guruhu Yuva. Why is the teacher ever young, ever youthful? It is because what he teaches is ever youthful. The knowledge of Brahman, the knowledge of Atman, the knowledge of the various deities, the knowledge of Shastra, it will never get old. In other words, it will never get obsolete. Something that never gets obsolete is ever youthful. And therefore, Harikesha is the ever youthful embodiment of knowledge. And therefore, he becomes the Upavitin. That is, Upavitin also can be interpreted as one who is worthy of Upavasa. Upavasa means what? Upa, Samipe, Vasati, stays. With whom would you like to be associated? Sit very closely for a long period of time, for a lengthy period of time. It is only when you are constantly getting a youthful knowledge all the time. A knowledge which does not become obsolete, a knowledge which is not repetitive, a knowledge which will make you grow. Only with such a guru we will be actually interested in sitting. Otherwise, after some time, we actually you cannot go back to your primary school teacher and sit like you would in front of Lord Shiva, isn't it? However much you respect and however much you love your primary school teacher, but as far as jnana transmission is concerned, it is already obsolete. Whereas here, Lord Shiva is not like that. And Upavita also indicates that he is a Brahmana. That is Brahma Anati iti. That is one who knows Brahman. So the Veda actually calls Shiva as Adi Brahmana. That means the very first Brahmana Shiva is called. Proof. Samaveda. In Samaveda there is a mantra Tvam Deveshu Brahmanosi Aham Manushyeshu. Look at the declaration. Tvam Deveshu Brahmanosi. You are the Brahmana among all the gods. I am the Brahmana among the human beings. Why? Because you are the one who knows Brahman. I am the one who is interested in knowing Brahman. Therefore, both of us have an agenda to be together. Tvam Brahmanosi Deveshu Aham Manushyeshu. Then the sage of the Samaveda continues to say, Brahmano vai Brahmanam upadhavati. Only a Brahmana will ever go and follow another Brahmana. Only a person who is interested in the knowledge of the Absolute, in the knowledge of the reality, Brahman, will seek out that Guru who has got the knowledge of Brahman, and upadhavati. Upadhavati means wherever he runs, behind him we run. Isn't it? So that is the quality of Lord Shiva. And then, what is my interest in this Brahman knowledge? So you may be familiar with the beautiful story of the king Kaushika, who had a skirmish with the sage Vasishtha, in the instance of where he wanted to appropriate the Kamadhenu cow, and then when he fails, all that Vasishtha did was to hold the Brahmadanda. Brahmadanda means it's a staff representing Brahman, and all the weapons that was hurled at him by Kaushika was completely absorbed. And therefore Kaushika declares, Brahma Tejo Balam Balam Dik Kshatra Balam. Brahma Tejo Balam Balam. Brahma Tejas is the real power. Physical prowess is secondary, and it is of no interest to us. Dik Kshatra Balam. So look at this again, the subtext. What exactly do we mean by Brahmajnana completely swallowing all the forces that are non-Brahman? That means when you have known the highest, all lower knowledge is a subset of the highest only, and thus it is completely enveloped by the higher knowledge. That is why when we sit in front of Shiva, that is the end. You cannot get out of his presence because of his immense knowledge that he transmits every single moment. How can you go away from him? And such is Brahma Tejo Bhalam. Another commentary on this Harikesha also you will find in the Parashara Samhita, that is Adi Brahmanam Ishanam Upadhavet Nacha Itaram. If at all you need to have a Brahmajnana at all, you have to go to this Adi Brahmana, Lord Shiva. That is why in all the prayers we start as Sadashiva Samarambham. We always say it starts with Sadashiva. So here is the Vedic proof why all knowledge starts from Sadashiva. Adi Brahmanam Ishanam Upadhavet Nacha Itaram. Not anybody else, because nobody else can give us the knowledge of Brahman. Brahma Tejaha Adhikam. The highest Tejas, luster one can get is only the Brahma Tejas. Na kshatram vaishya sambhavam. Not the kshatra. Kshatra means the physical material power. How do you get physical and material power? By means of getting into a trade, isn't it? You trade your knowledge, you trade your ability. Then when you sell your ability, when you sell your knowledge, you get some returns out of that. And those returns which you get out of that is only known as kshatra earning. But here it is Brahman knowledge, Brahman earning. Sarvesham adhiko yasmat. This knowledge is the highest of the knowledge. Therefore, Bhagavan Brahmana Shivaha. Therefore, Bhagavan Shiva is that Brahmana with whom we go and sit. In other words, when you say Namo Harikeshaya, when you use this mantra with the true spirit of Upasana, then like Shiva, you also become a Brahmana. Namo Harikeshayopavitine Pushtanam Pataye Namaha. Pushtanam Pataye Namaha means he is the Lord of the well-nourished. That is the meaning. So, in the context, how do we interpret this? There is the Jnana, Jnana Swarupa Parameshwara is there. I go behind him, I will run behind him wherever he is, right? And then he gives me that nourishment which is so essential, the nourishment of the knowledge of Brahman. And therefore what happens, the relationship between Shiva, Paramashiva and me as his student will be so nourishing. And then the love and the affection that develops between such a teacher and such a student, that affection is alaukikam, is not of this world. It is of a different caliber altogether, and therefore that person will become a pushta. That person will become very strong. Why should he become very strong? What is the reason that he should be strengthened by this knowledge that is transmitted by the Guru Shiva? It is because, again, remember the Upanishad Vakya which says, Nayamatma balahinena labhyaha. This knowledge of Atman cannot be got by the weak person or the weak-minded. So one must be extraordinarily strong intellectually. And you who is very strong intellectually is a pushta, and therefore a worthy student of a Harikesha who is a youthful person, and he becomes Pushtanam Pataye Namaha. We have to actually dig into the mantra to get this meaning out. There is a good reason why it is hidden in such a secretive manner. That's why it's called, all Upanishads are called Rahasya. This is Rudropanishad. Why it is called as Rahasya, why it is called as a secret? It is because this is Upasana Khanda, this is how we have to do Upasana. Because without Upasana, high knowledge is not available. And every one of these we study here. What is it is trying to do? It is trying to give us that universal vision. In Bhagavad Gita, we talk about Sarvabhutastam Atma, or Ishavasya Upanishad, we talk about you must find yourself in everything. How can you find yourself in everything until you have examined everything and you have found yourself in it? So, Rudradhyaya is a classic text by which you can do an upasana like that. So, as you are seeing the structure right here. Namo bhavasya hetyai jagatam pataye namaha. Next mantra. Bhava means samsara. Why? Because the etymology of the word bhava is bhavati tishtati iti bhavaha. That means this will not go away. We are stuck to this. We are stuck to this life of becoming. We are stuck to this repetition of birth, old age, death. Constantly. For this samsara, which we are stuck, and which we cannot get rid of, he is hetihi. The word hetihi means he is a weapon. He is himself a weapon who will cut our bondage with the samsara. To him our salutations, who destroys the relentless life of becoming. So, bhavasya hetyai, he is a relentless destroyer of samsara at the microcosmic level, at the individual level. But we have to work out our karmas, isn't it? The repetition of taking births and deaths, constant births and deaths, we need a field where to express, and we need a field which helps us in getting over this samsara. What is that field? Jagat. Therefore, he is Jagatpati. Can you see the thread? How beautifully the mantras are threaded. So you look at individual. The individual is trapped in becoming in samsara. And why is he trapped in becoming in samsara? It is because he is associated with the ever-changing Jagat. And the ever-changing Jagat is ever-changing because of Ishvara, who is Jagatpati, and therefore Jagatam Pataye Namaha. So, what is this state of becoming? What do we mean by this samsara and this state of becoming? It is a state of being which it develops in our mind. So how does this becoming develop in the mind? What is the reason? What triggers it? Avidya triggers it. Let's go back to Patanjali Yoga Sutra. Avidya triggers it. Because of avidya, it morphs into, remember what are the things it morphs into? Asmita, ragadvesha, abhiniveshani. So now you can see why he is bhavasya heti, one who's completely cut samsara, and he is Jagatpati, but at the same time he is also Guru. And who is Upavitin, who is a Brahmana, and I am a Brahmana and I am chasing him. I won't let him be. I will never I'll never get out of his company. Isn't it? It is because I know that he is Bhavasya Hetye Namaha. He is the one who is going to cut my repeated births and deaths. By actually cutting away at the root, the klesha, which is the avidya. So, why should I cut this klesha? Why should I get rid of this klesha? It is because klesha mulaha karmashayo drishta adrishta janma vedaniya. Remember this sutra from Patanjali Yoga Sutra, chapter 2. I think it is sutra number 13. Please check. It may be 13 or 14. Where he is saying, Patanjali Maharshi is saying, what is the root of all this klesha, my bondage in samsara? It is because it is the root, it is the locus with which all the experiences that are seen by me and that are not yet seen by me. We have much more to see. Good and bad. Please don't misunderstand. Because wherever if there is a bad experience, there is always a good experience. It is that duality can never be removed. What we are trying to do here is to go beyond good and bad, beyond dualities. If you want to go beyond dualities, you have to go to one who is beyond duality. Who is the one who is beyond duality? It is none other than Lord Shiva himself. That is how we are interested in the upasana, that is to go and sit near him, our interest, because if the klesha mula, I don't want to digress too much into Patanjali Yoga Sutra because we have already covered elsewhere. It is because sati mule, if this klesha mula, the root of this klesha, savidya, asmita is there, sati mule, tad vipakaha, When it becomes fructified at some point of time, it will determine my next jati, ayu, bhoga. It will determine which species I will be born as, how long I will live. As we were talking yesterday, there is no such thing as akala marana at all. That means there is no such thing as untimely death. All death is timely only. So because of this klesha mula, there is jati, ayu, bhoga. What species we are born and how long we are going to live and what are going to be our life's experiences. So look at the whole chain reaction that it is setting. And therefore, I have to go and cut this mula, and therefore I go to this God, Shiva, who is bhavasya hetihi, one who is ready with a weapon to cut my becoming, the samsara. So what is the weapon he has got? In Bhagavad Gita, what does Krishna say? Asanga shastrena dridhena chitva. So this bhavasya heti, the weapon that Shiva has got is the asanga shastra. And this asanga shastra means the weapon of detachment or non-attachment. Asanga is non-attachment, the weapon of non-attachment. With the weapon of non-attachment, he will decisively cut it, not ordinarily cutting. Dridhena chitva, there is no two minds about it. It's one slice gone, that's it. See, this is how we have got to link all the texts. Then we will get consistency of thought. Yoga Sutra, Upanishads, Veda mantras, and then all other texts. In fact, one of these days I will connect some of the Western thought also, especially Kant and onwards. They have also been seeing many of these concepts themselves. In fact, the nucleus was already there in Pascal. See, Blaise Pascal was the one who started talking about there is this Jagat and the nature of the Jagat. So all sages everywhere. But of course, nobody has come to this level of understanding anywhere. Another connection. Who can have this weapon which can cut the samsara for us, bhavasya heti? Only he who knows what are all the various avidya, asmita, ragadvesha driven karmas I have done in the past. Somebody who is aware of what I am doing now and who is aware of its consequences in future. Isn't it? Only he will be able to be the true guru for me. He is Bhuta Bhavya Bhavat Prabhu. Vishnu Sahasranama. Bhuta Bhavya Bhavat Prabhu. One who is Prabhu. Means Prakarshena Bhavati iti Prabhu. If you look at the dictionary, Prabhu is translated as king. Prakarshena Bhavati means in a powerful way he exists in the past, in the present and in the future. Why is he interested in saving me from this samsara? It is because of my bhakti. I have made myself a good conductor through which the wisdom of Shiva is going to pass through me, isn't it? In electricity is everywhere. And then what do? Like we were talking yesterday, we actually put it in a bad conductor so that it does not create shock, isn't it? So we have made our own personality a bad conductor of all wisdom. So how can it flow through us? Therefore, all this Shastradhyana is now making us good conductors of this knowledge. Then what happens? It goes through us and then it will also enliven us and enlighten us. Bhagavad Gita also talks about it. Tameva chadyam purusham prapadye. That first Purusha I approach. That is why we say that Bhagavad Gita is an essence of all the Veda and the Upanishad. Tameva chadyam purusham prapadye yatah pravruttaha prasutah purani. Bhagavad Gita, chapter 4 or so. I think chapter 4. The Shvetashvatara Upanishad also talks about similarly. Mayam tu prakritim vidyat. So when we study Shvetashvatara, we will see. Mayam tu prakritim vidyat. Mayanam tu maheshwaram. So he is the one who has got the entire universe, Jagatpati. He is the Bhavasya Hetyai because he is Mayinam. Because he is the one who knows what is Maya. Tasya vayava bhutaistu vyaptam sarvamidam jagate. So such is the Guru-Shishya relationship. The Shishya is having the problem of samsara. The Guru has the key to remove the samsara. This is a special Guru where the Guru also is the Lord of the Shishya in all respects. So both Anoraniyan, Mahato Mahiyan, in both respects he becomes our Guru and therefore he removes our dukkha. So what is the main outcome of all samsara, of all repetitive births? It is the possibility of dukkha. So therefore dukkha has to be removed. How does this great being remove dukkha? It is because he is Rudra. So now you get the connection to the next mantra. Namo Rudraya Tatavine Kshetranam Pataye Namaha. Namo Rudraya. Here we have to interpret the word Rudra as Rudam Samsara Dukkham Dravayati iti Rudra. That is, he is the one who will completely melt away all this sorrow that is caused by this constant becoming. So that is how this whole idea links to the next mantra. He is the one who removes and cuts away our dukkha. It is because he holds that weapon, which is the weapon of non-attachment, Asanga Shastra, and therefore Atata Vinay also means weapon. With that weapon, he is going to cut away my samsara. How can he do it? Because he knows the territory. Only one who knows the territory can deal with it, isn't it? And hence he is Kshetranam Pataye Namaha. He is as the knowledgeable of the territory. More on that next week.